Walking rant. As a black woman, never argue with a man, especially a white man in a professional setting. My mother told me why. And if your first thought is, oh, it's respectability politics, or you don't want to look like the angry black woman, it's none of those. It's because arguing with white men in a professional setting turns them on. That may sound like the craziest thing. My mother taught me so many of these little microaggressive type tidbits when I was growing up, and I, in my head as a young person, I was like, that stuff ain't true. That's some old school stuff. No one's like that. She's bringing stuff from the 50s. Well, I got a story about it. I worked at BBDO, that dreadful advertising agency, for years. I had an awesome boss. He was a white dude. He was the greatest. That's the reason why I worked there so long, because he basically let me do whatever I wanted to do. And that's always nice. So I've been working there probably about 5 or 6 years at this point. And we would have really in-depth conversations about life and race and bounce stuff off of each other because he was cool people. One day we were talking about racism, and he basically said,
well, Barb, you probably don't experience a lot of racism because you're really pretty. And I just don't think, like you being hot, you'd experience any racism.
And I was like, Bob, what are you talking about? When people see somebody black, if they're racist, they're not going to go, oh, she's black and hot, I like her. They're going to go, she's black, ugh. We're really getting into it because he couldn't really understand it because he liked me as a person and he thought I was good looking. He thought no one would ever be mean to you. I'm like, that's for the white women. That's not for us. As we're talking about it, I get kind of heated and I go, I don't understand why you would think that way. As I'm talking, I start telling him my point. I'm looking at him. He leans back in his chair and he goes, I catch it. As I'm talking about something that I feel passionate about, he sits there, leans back and smiles. And I immediately dial it back because what my mother told me years before hit me. I stop and I go, what are you smiling about? And he goes,
as you're stating your position, you're doing all this and all that and, you know, waving your hand and your head.
I go, no, I'm not. You guys only know me through this app. Would you ever believe that? Would you ever believe that that is how I would argue with somebody doing this? Of course not. I told my mom that when I left work and she goes, he saw all of that in his head. Started talking passionately about what I felt about racism, what he felt about racism. But when I was talking passionately, somehow it turned him on. And now he couldn't listen. Now he went into a whole fetish fantasy of me bobbing my head. I bet it was in slow motion. You know, I don't read. He probably even saw me talk differently. Bob, you know why I don't like my position. Right then, I was so annoyed. My mother was right. I let myself be too comfortable in that relationship, even though I didn't raise my voice. I wasn't, angry. I was just passionate. He saw it how my mother said he would see it and fetishized the whole dialogue. It was highly disappointing. You may be asking, so Barb, what's the why behind it? I personally don't know, but my mom said they just get kicks out of seeing black women angry. That's why that whole angry black woman trophy thing even started, because they get sexually aroused out of seeing angry black women. My mom be dropping some knowledge, don't she? Just in a professional setting, keep all that passion to yourself. Is it tone pleasing? Of course it is. But do you want to be right or do you want to be happy? That is a huge problem with us, is that we want to be right because most of the times we are right. So now we try to fight for our position because we're like, could you just see the light? And it continues on this app, rage bait. Now our rage is monetized. And every time y'all be falling for it. Somebody says something crazy, you jump in their post or whatever. Please stop taking the bait because people love to see black women angry and mad and in their feelings. So stuff in the 1950s still pertains to 2025.